dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? 10 days to go before Christmas Eve. And we have a light up Christmas video for you, of course, this morning. Day 14, we return to Pontelima for an incident. And what happens when you have a cat at Christmas time. So a nice little 30-second video, some of which you've seen before, but you've not seen the denouement and climax of the most recent cat-related action on the Christmas tree of John and Pam in Pontelima. And we've got a nice message from Heather, who's in Spain at the moment. Heather, boots on the ground. Binder, who you would have seen yesterday on the show, but she's away at the moment, wanted to send you a little message, which I'll play you as well. Let us know how you're doing this morning. Oh, let me just quickly as well play that Philippe Stark video. I was going to play it a few times yesterday so that you could get the gist of it and maybe do a bit of translation from French and see what he's saying about Portugal and the Portuguese people.
Serra que olha para o mundo.
Par hasard, j'ai découvert le Portugal. J'ai découvert le Portugal où j'ai trouvé la dernière espèce humaine qui avait gardé des valeurs humaines. Où là, il y a encore de l'honnêteté, de l'amitié, de la tendresse, de la vérité. Et j'ai trouvé l'endroit où on peut vivre en harmonie avec les autres. On peut dire même, on peut vivre dans l'amour.
It's a beautiful language, isn't it, French? And he says some beautiful things there. And I will bring you a translation of that a little bit later on. But he's keeping one, isn't he, Philippe Stark? I remember buying his orange juicer in the 80s when he was very flavoursome, wasn't he, as a designer? I think an architect as well, right? He designs all manner of things. Very popular in the 80s and 90s. And seems to have, like me, ended up here in Portugal. Like you too, possibly. How are you this morning? Baddies here. Coach Turner, sorry, yesterday I neglected with all the. I didn't realize there was so much to talk about with the D2 visa, and time ran out. Okay, brilliant. So we're reiterating the heel raises that I nearly read out yesterday, and another Coach Turner God Squad tip of the day as well. To come this morning after we've said hello to Baddie, Joao's in, Coach Turner, of course, and James are here. And lots of other people who are working and lurking, or maybe not even working, but lurking nonetheless. Do say hello. If you've not said hello, oh, Pete's here as well. Morning, Pete. If you watch but don't say anything or declare yourself, there's a word for that. The polite one, I think, is... Well, kind of polite one is lurker. Here's one who's saying hi, bon dia from whoever you are. You see, the thing about Facebook sometimes is you have to give permission for it to show your identity. But thank you. That's better than nothing. Thank you very much. It's nice to know who's watching so that we can at least say hi to you as well. Like Jim White here, who said hello. Bon dia, todos. From Jim in Porto, I suspect, as well. Oh, yeah, and Pete, that was another message that I forgot. There was quite a lot going on yesterday, wasn't there? There's another message I forgot to read out yesterday from Pete. It looks like the International Poo Stick Championships are taking place here in Portugal this year. Who knew? Another first for Portugal and another understated and quietly proud moment for this country, the Global Poo Stick Championships. And never mind about your G7s, G20s, WEF, UN, blah-de-blah, all those get-togethers where people fly around the world to tell you not to fly around the world. Here, we're going, not au naturel. That would lead to possibly people naked poo stick. No, don't go there. When I say au naturel, I mean out in nature. Generally speaking, if you're doing a poo stick challenge, you're probably, I imagine you to be standing over a beautiful stream somewhere. Could be the Mondego where we were last weekend, couldn't it? I mean, you have to have pretty good eyesight to follow your poo stick from one side of the bridge to the other and negotiate the traffic crossing the road as well. Or maybe it could be teamwork, couldn't it? It could be teamwork that makes that dream work. And of course, you have to be careful for passing boaters, people sculling and what's the other word for that? What are the bigger boats called? Sculls are the little ones, aren't they? But there are people in the rowing boats going up and down the Mondego. Very academic vibe to Coimbra, very sort of Oxbridge-ish. Not only the university, one of the oldest in the world, up on the hill, but people messing around on the water too, down in the Mondego. So you keep those videos coming in of poo stick challenges or any other video, especially the Light Up Christmas, which I think we'll do in just a moment. The continuing adventures of Catface, which we'll share with you in just a moment, and Heather's message from Spain too. All your videos, pictures, 913-590-303. 10 days to go until Christmas Eve, where we'll open the last window. Actually won't be on air for that. Just to recap, our Christmas close down this year will be from the 22nd, Friday the 22nd. We'll have a little bit of a break, and me and Mrs. M will do a joint show on the 1st of January, which will still feel like a holiday, of course, but we'll be back in business on the 1st of January 2024. And that, of course, is the theme for today. What do you think is going to happen, not only in Portugal, but in the world in 2024? What are you hoping for? What do you think will actually happen? And what are your hopes? What do you intend and will actively bring about in 2024? Because I guess that's what really matters, isn't it? Hopes. I've heard hope defined as something, a thought over which we have little agency. An intention, I guess, becomes a little more practical and purposeful, and taking action on what you want to see in the world, I guess, of course, is the ultimate way to change the world, be the change. Leela is here as well, and Liz F, an observer. Yes, Liz F, thank you, Liz F. No, not voyeur or lurker. Observer, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Larry, good morning to you. Bon dia, out here in SMDP, still lurking on our lease. Fingers crossed. I was thinking about you last night, and I was going to send you a message to see how you're doing. You've saved me a job there. So is everything going okay? Send me a message if you need any help locally. Larry, Lawrence there, and lots of love to you both, and fingers crossed for you both, of course, as well. And I learned what the phrase was for fingers crossed in Portuguese, and it's completely escaped my mind, despite all that was said on Monday on that rather excellent show where Anna and James were talking about gaining confidence, speaking Portuguese. It was a very helpful show, I think, on Monday, and helpful for Darren especially. I did getting a little bit of stick for not speaking, not poo stick either. A little bit of abuse basically for not speaking Portuguese, being shamed up. We do not approve of that sort of behaviour here. Okay, let's play that the latest Advent video. They are all on our homepage, goodmorningportugal.com. Loads of resources at goodmorningportugal.com. If you become a supporter, subscriber, and cheers, Bob, for doing that in the last couple of days. If you become an even deeper supporter, as many of you are, of the Good Morning Portugal endeavour, you get another door opens behind. It's like walking into Mr. Ben's. There's plenty to go at on the Good Morning Portugal site, including the news and information section of the site, where we update you with all sorts of articles, like we'll do this morning. Actually, we'll have a look at the news and predictions for 24, and actually some really nice news articles for a change in the digital papers as well. So we'll have a look at those when we consider what we'd like to see for 2024. And yeah, it's like Mr. Ben. If you go into the homepage, goodmorningportugal.com. There's the back door of gmpvip.com, opens up to a whole new world of resources as well, in our classroom and our private timeline, where there aren't any Facebook adverts and all that sort of stuff going on. A nice clean timeline and a nice respectful community. No trolling there. Zero tolerance for any nastiness and unkindness, and just a love of Portugal going on at gmpvip.com. Which, if you go and support us over there, you'll be supporting our endeavour and ensuring that we're nice and safe and sound for doing what we do in 2024 and beyond. So thank you very much to those of you who already do that. Aurico is here as well. Good to see you. And let's go back to the beginning of those comments after we've seen Catface in action. And we've heard a little message from Heather Binder from Boots on the Ground Portugal in Spain. But Catface up first.
gumpers. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, all you gumpers.
Cats, what are they like? Sometimes quite destructive. You can see there having fun in the middle part of the Christmas tree, which is a shadow of its former self. John, did you have to take a few lights and baubles and trimmings off the tree? And there's Catface still sleeping in that part of the tree there. Cats, me and cats. You heard, didn't you? The recent indignity for me is that I am identified now by the Portuguese government as a proud cat owner. A massive passport came in the post recently. I never saw that coming. Happy to help creatures in distress, but I'm more of a dog guy than a cat guy. But that little Jenny, she's working on me. She's melting my heart. She's got some funny habits, however, like Catface there, destroying the middle of the Christmas tree. But we shall see how that how this particular relationship between man and cat goes. Just you never know what's going to happen here in Portugal, and when animals turn up and decide that they're going to be living with you. That's what Mrs. M said. This cat just turned up and decided she'd live with us, didn't she? Yes, she did. That's Jenny. Okay, let's go to the comments then at just after 8 o'clock. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz Quinta a todos. Como va todos? From you, James. And your praises were sung. You may blush in Ericeira. I think Mama Bear McGowan found it really helpful talking to you. And just so everybody knows, she is. There is movement. I don't want to disclose her personal arrangements, but it's got a whole lot more positive. Got a lovely message from her last night, and things have changed direction from her or for her, and she is in a very different place to what she was sharing on was it Tuesday morning. She, the great carer of others and in need of a little care herself. This is how the wheel of karma turns, is it not, in life? So great job, James, and thanks to everyone who's been involved in helping Mama Bear out. Things are looking a whole lot better for M. Have a lovely time, M. Coach Turner then. Bom dia, Gumpers. E tudo bem? We're off to see an old friend this morning who lost her other half last year. Well, yes, tricky time of year, isn't it? To be reminded of that, of course. It's her birthday today as well. We should be thinking of others at this time of year, which you clearly are, Coach Turner. God's squad tip of the day. I'm going to come back to your dad jokes in a moment. God's squad tip of the day. We did heel raises yesterday on 2 feet. So once they become easier after a couple of weeks, try doing it on each foot in turn. Who doesn't like to do it on each foot first thing in the morning? Again, use the back of a chair to provide balance. Balance in all things, folks, including the heel raises. Now we're going from 2 heels to 1. Are you actually... I forget, or I overlooked the main content of that. Are we standing on the balls of our feet and not bouncing, but moving up and down on the balls of our feet whilst we hold the back of a chair here, Ian? Putting the front of your foot, there you go. Balls of your feet, that is, on a book about 1 inch thick, can also allow you to stretch the calf a little more. But be careful not to overextend or ruin your back catalogue of Reader's Digests. Slowly does it. Excellent stuff. And yesterday's was stand behind a chair using the back of it to help balance. Gradually raise your heels off the ground. So there you go, on the balls of your feet. And we're moving from both feet to singular feet after you've got used to that. And maybe you can introduce 1 inch of book as well. And then slowly back down again. Add a book under the balls of your feet to increase the stretch, but be careful not to overextend. Never! Always be careful, and that's where the mindfulness comes in, isn't it? When we're not mindful doing exercise, I think that's when we can tend to stretch ourselves. If in a kind of more of a yogic way, you really breathe into, and be in the stretch, you're more likely, I think. Would you agree with this, Coach Turner, and anyone who does yoga here? If you really get it, if you be the stretch, as it were, in a kind of Jedi yoga way, you're going to do yourself less damage, I would have thought. You're going to fight. You're going to be more. The limits are going to be more obvious. And at that point of, I think that might be it. You can just give it a little bit more if you want, can't you? But you're not going to be going gung ho and taking your cues from a video you saw of somebody else doing it, because that could be disastrous. Or where you think you should be in a particular stretch. Listen to your body, I guess, would be another way of putting it, would it not? I don't know, those of you who are yogis, if you'd agree with that, and what you make of that, Coach Turner, this morning. Message to come in just a moment then from Heather Binder, who is in Spain at the moment, with a quick message on her plans for the new year to support people moving to Portugal. And James, dad joke. Watch out, everybody. Oh no, remember that? We used to actually have we still got that dad joke warning? Let me see if we still got that video somewhere. Yes, we do.
Warning. Warning.
It's a dad joke alert. We haven't heard that for a while, have we? And we haven't needed the trigger alert either. Do you remember this as well? Yeah, those were the days, weren't they, when we had to, take 5 from things are getting a bit heated. In a moment, where have they gone? Those people who used to get really triggered about stuff here on the Good Morning. Maybe they went and go and get triggered somewhere else. People keep mistaking my wows for compliments. Yeah, it's a thin line, isn't it, between a wow and a wow. And thank you for this that you sent in as well. Let me explain for those who are watching. Sorry, listening. If you're watching, you can see this, can't you? Somebody comes in. Oh, this is very modern, isn't it? I thought, in a gender stereotypical sort of way, it might be the man who says, "Hello, my love, what's cooking?" But no, I guess it makes sense when you read on, "Hello, my love, what's cooking?" And maybe try this at home if you're lucky enough to have someone who cooks for you. Hello, my love. And if you're the one doing the cooking, you can try this when that person asks you that question. "Hello, my love, what's cooking?" It's when you heat and combine foods to make them taste better and digest more easily. I'm going to try that myself. I could have done that last night. I made a nice. Do you know what? I made a fussy pie yesterday. I'll tell you what a fussy pie is. Now, am I missing any of this visual dad joke on the screen here because of that comment that's on there? No, I'm not. It's just a shocked face, isn't it? I made fussy pie for the family yesterday. So most people in this family like a potato topping on a pie, baked in the oven with some cheese on it, and the cheese goes a little bit crusty and crunchy or chewy. Chewy in the case of Emmental, I found out yesterday, which is quite nice. And I thought to myself, I'm going to put vegetables in this pie. I'm going to saute some vegetables, a bit of red wine and some stock, and use up all the old bits, that are wilting and withering in the back of the fridge and anywhere else in the kitchen. And tuna, they like tuna in this family as well. And I mixed up a bit of tuna and sweet corn because I thought some of that will be left over and I can have a tuna mayo sandwich maybe tomorrow. And also some beans. They like beans in this family. And I thought if I mix all this together, it's going to be a veggie slop, which could be quite comforting, with a potato top and cheesy bakey business going on. But what I did was I made a wall of tuna in the middle of this pie dish. And then I put the beans on one side and I put the vegetables on the other. And people could pick which section of the pie. It was a bit potluck and roulette because it was hard to see apart from the gravy that was popping out, which bit was what. But it was a triumph, actually. It was a triumph. Fussy pie, if you need such inspiration. And of course, don't forget that tonight. Hello, what's cooking? It's when you heat and combine foods to make them taste better and digest them more easily. Thank you very much for that. And of course, T-Duck is away at the moment on a well-deserved break and tour. In the space left, people have been pouring in their deep thoughts and dad jokes. So thank you very much for those. Is this another one here? Oh, that was yesterday's, wasn't it? The rather beautifully shaped underwear-shaped lights. Somewhere we didn't identify where that was, did we? And the opening meme this morning, last night on Dancing with the Czars, Peter and Catherine were great, but Ivan was terrible. Thank you very much for that too. More dad jokes to follow, no doubt, and deep thoughts. If I've forgotten, I'm very aware actually that this week I may have forgotten and overlooked comments that have come in. And don't be grumpy about that. Just reassert them into the chat. Sometimes there's a lot going on and I miss things. And we run out of time with that blooming barefoot broadcast as well, breathing down my neck. I can't just stay here and read them all out anymore. The joke gets lost when you get literal, Carl. And that last image was her dismay at his stupid dad joke response. Yes, I think we all know that face, don't we? From whatever culture we find ourselves in. What's cooking is a way of saying what's... Oh, so it doesn't have to be anything to do with cooking. Somebody could say, what's cooking? More generally. I see. Thank you very much for that explanation there, James. Right, who else is in and needs saying hello to this morning? Okay. We've got Coach Turner and James having a bit of a chat. Can we crowbar our way into that and find out what's going on there between those two? You don't have to act crazy anymore. We all know you're good at that. Now retire, my dear, from all the hard work you do of bringing pain to your sweet eyes and heart. Have I missed some some context here? Look in a clear mountain mirror. See this is obviously a deep thought, isn't it? See the beautiful ancient warrior and the divine elements you always carry inside. Hooah! That infused this universe so long ago and joined you eternally with all existence, with God. From Hafiz there. This is very good. Some Sufi wisdom. Am I right, James, in classifying Hafiz as Sufi wisdom here? You don't have to act crazy anymore. Oh, we all know that you're good at that. Now retire, my dear, from all the hard work you do of bringing pain to your sweet eyes and heart. I think this would be good, wouldn't it? If you want to cut and paste this and put it in a Christmas card to somebody this year, I'm keen to hear what the results will be. Look in a clear mountain mirror. See the beautiful ancient warrior and the divine elements you always carry inside that infused this universe so long ago and joined you eternally with all existence, with God. Hafiz. Very nice. Thank you for that. More deep thoughts, dad jokes, and other. What else do we have? Sayings. Any sayings that you would like to share with us? Anything that will be inspirational and educational? You know where to send it. Either to 913-590-303 or pop it straight in the chat and cut out the WhatsApp middleman. My Coach Turner has been quietly enjoying planning the road trip next year. In case you didn't know, he's driving to Portugal in a beautiful Porsche. And we'll be meeting up with various gumpers and we'll be filming some of that, working out which are the best routes, who we can visit, and what we can see and do. Keeps me amused during the dark days. Those are coming to a close. About a week from now, the light will be returning and we should be celebrating at whatever level you celebrate the return of the sun, which whether it's an S-O-N, an S-U-N, the light, the returning light that we celebrate and look forward to at this time of year. It's coming, everybody. It's coming. Hang on in there. Just in case anyone was confused, that Hafiz quote was the mindful moment for today. Thank you very much for your mindful moments this week. Really appreciate those. And yeah, if I missed anything that was sent in this week, don't be afraid to repost it, and I will do better. Now, Philippe Stark, one more time with Philippe Stark before we go to Heather as well. And at around 9, we'll start looking at some of those predictions and hopes for 2024 too, and picking up on a few news and items and articles and predictions and PR pieces as they often are. This is Philippe Stark.
Serra que olha para o mundo.
Par hasard, j'ai découvert le Portugal. J'ai découvert le Portugal où j'ai trouvé la dernière espèce humaine qui avait gardé des valeurs humaines. Où là, il y a encore de l'honnêteté, de l'amitié, de la tendresse, de la vérité. Et j'ai trouvé l'endroit où on peut vivre en harmonie avec les autres. On peut dire même, on peut vivre dans l'amour.
Dans l'amour. I said on the screen there, he is a designer and architect. That's Philippe Stark there. Who, like Ai Weiwei, the Chinese artist, also loves being in Portugal. I think specifically in the Alentejo. Great place for artists, right? This is what he said. Now, I'm really surprised. He said a lot, didn't he? And it distills down into this. Something that I've discovered. I was trying to distill my thoughts and experiences of Coimbra from last weekend into a Portugal resident piece. And I had to apologize to the editor when I sent it off yesterday. The finishing touches and photos to follow. So I've got to do those today. But there was so much to say. And I was at 1,500 words, I think, and I still hadn't finished. So a bumper, a Coimbra report coming up soon in the Portugal resident with photos to follow. And do join us in January when we're back there at the Strong Beers Festival as well. That'd be a really nice chance for Gumpers to get together. Now, what was it Philippe Stark said? I took 1,500 words to articulate my love of Coimbra. Here he is with many fewer, if that's not a contradiction in terms, a lot less in terms of the verbiage. By chance, this is what he was saying in French there. By chance, I discovered Portugal. I discovered Portugal where I found the last human species that had kept human values, where there is still honesty, friendship, tenderness, truth. And I found the place where we can live in harmony with others. We can even say that we can live in love. Now, isn't that beautiful? And in fairness to the rest of the world, I'm sure there are other places where you can still enjoy those qualities and in this quantity. A point being, I suppose, is it a hard or easy thing to do to discover those things? And I think we may well agree here that the outbreaks of such great human behaviour are the chances of such are more favourable here. Certainly, my experience, and part of the attraction, a big part of the attraction for being here, the spirit of Portugal, if I may sum it up like that. The beautiful words of Philippe Stark there, which was sent to me. That TV clip was sent to me by Philomena, who was again so helpful in Coimbra, sorting me out with a bacalhau brush that I'll never forget, and a wonderful fado evening with Dr. Farenha, all of which I've written about in a forthcoming Portugal resident piece. And yeah, I was saying we're having a Christmas close down about a week from now. We won't be live streaming after the 22nd, which is the Friday, but I will post something every day. And what I was thinking of doing is actually reading some of my resident articles to add to our podcast. And, post one of those up each day with celebrating our love here of Portugal. That's what it's all about here on Good Morning Portugal, loving Portugal and Portugal 2024. How can we help you move here and enjoy your life even more next year? We'll talk more about that in a few minutes after we've carried on with our hellos baddies here. Hola, bon dia from stormy Iceland. Crikey, got a picture, baddie. And we have a picture from, it's not stormy exactly, but it's a dull old day up there in the north, or it was about an hour ago. Thanks, John. Look at that. That's a foggy old morning in Ponte Lima. Thank you very much for that, John. And yesterday, of course, this is what it looked like up that way as well from Bob and Viv. Keep those pictures coming. I've got pictures of toilets as well for some reason. I know. Didn't get round to showing these yesterday. I'll come back to this. Do you know, I took that picture naked and it occurred to me, sometimes you see on Facebook, the person forgets that, am I being reflected anywhere in that photo? I hope not. Not that I can see anyway. And thank you, Antonio Barbosa, for this beautiful toilet as well. Lavatory, if we're being posh here. We'll come back to those in a little while. Did anyone tune in to Tony's Moving to Portugal Telegram webinar last night? I struggled a bit like an old fart, actually, with trying to get on that on Telegram. So I failed. Sorry, Tony, I wasn't there to listen in. But if you were, let us know how that was for you. And of course, reach out to Tony if you need any more help moving to Portugal from his own unique perspective. Talking of which, moving to Portugal, getting help, Heather Binder as well in the Good Morning Portugal community. Here's her message from Spain.
Good morning, Gumpers. I'm Heather Binder from Boots on the Ground, Portugal. I'm currently in Spain with my operations manager. We're doing some work here, figuring out a little bit of our strategy and some ideas for 2024. There's been some changes, a variety of things going on, and so we're figuring out how best we can serve you in the future and expand our services to be much more inclusive of all the help people need over the first couple to few years of moving. So look for our website revamped coming in 2024, early January. Boots on the Ground pt.com is the website, and we'd love to be of help, and we'd love to do a free chat with you, so feel free to schedule that. You can do that on the website. And I'll be back on Good Morning Portugal in about 2 weeks, so I'll see you guys then. Bye.
I forgot to warn you about the earworm at the end. Isn't that guy great? That's from Heather in Spain, and she was at a tapas bar and recorded that. Brilliant performer there. He knows how to rock a party, doesn't he? Na 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 na, with a djembe drum. I never heard it done like that. And how he transitions from "We Will Rock You" into your earworm of the day. Don't forget, na 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 na. Isn't that great? Morning, Jacqueline. How are you? Good time to arrive. Have a fabulous day, everyone. What a lovely greeting. Thank you very much. And Antonio, we should return to those lavatories. All right. Oh, wow, what an enthusiastic group. Yes. I'd like to play that clip again. I think I might segment that. No offense to you, Heather, but I think we need that every now and then, just to play randomly. Well, we only saw a few seconds. The DJ was getting ready to rock as well. Maybe it did get a little bit more enthusiastic. Antonio, bon dia, how was it last night, Antonio? Feliz Quinta-feira, Tony time, man in the menu. Oh, of course, tonight it's Quinta-feira, isn't it? It's Thursday, the Expats Portugal webinar tonight, as we'll be chatting with Gilda. And I think I'm going to get a frosty reception for forgetting her birthday last weekend. Think it's okay. A little bit frosty possibly tonight on the Dream Team at 9. Tony, I was talking about toilet talk here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And I neglected, I was showing talking about the Zero Lodge where I stayed in Coimbra. There's going to be one of these there is one of these in Porto, and there's likely to be one in I'm realizing this is probably not the best picture to be showing you this time of day or ever, perhaps. But they will be building one of these in Lisbon, I think, soon. Great concept, the Zero Lodge, ideally suited to the millennial seeking accommodation and the digital nomad. And João Porto, the reception manager who we interviewed on Saturday, said they've got some good digital nomad deals as well. So if you are going, take a laptop and pretend to be a digital nomad when you're booking. Now, I thought this was a really brilliantly designed lavatory bathroom area. Oh, look at the mess there. That towel isn't folded in reflection, but at least you can't see me taking the photograph naked there. Nicely folded TP, toilet paper, lavatory paper there, and plenty of it, right? If you run out there, that's going to be very unfortunate. It's unlikely. And how annoying, given that it's so well stocked. And this is another great workspace for digital nomads, if you know what I mean. And the color scheme even matched my mouse, as you can see there. Now, if you haven't seen enough brilliant toilets this morning, let's turn our attention now to this one, which has solicited the comment from James. What a lovely love toilet. Just what I always wanted, said no one ever. Well, nothing says I love you like sitting next to a partner evacuating or relieving themselves, right? I don't know. And you know, if you can have a really tender moment, can't you, as you go to flush? So, oh, no, you do it. Oh, no, you do it. No, you do it. Isn't that lovely? Shall I press the deep flush or just the superficial courtesy flush? Oh, you choose. Oh, I don't know. I would. Superb. Thank you, Tony. Have you got other pictures like this from the world of real estate? Was this something that clinched or unclinched a deal for you in previous times in your real estate career? Absolutely superb. Thank you very much for that. In American English. No, I'm not saying that. I want to stay with the romance of that image. Morning, Ubi. Ubi's here as well. Bon dia a todos. Merry Christmas and happy festivus there. Thank you very much for that. Oh, yeah, going back to me, fussy pie. Good for you, says Liz F. Who's a little bit more vocal this morning. Good to see you, Liz. Thank you for breaking cover from your observer status. Hope everyone enjoyed your fussy pie. You could make it in a Pyrex dish so everyone can see what side they want. That's a great idea, isn't it? I was making it an opaque sort of flan dish. That is an excellent idea. And I could mess with the kids' minds, couldn't I? And I could just put a little bit of tuna or beans on that part of the Pyrex window. And then loads of vegetables behind it as they dig in for that. Urico's here. Muito obrigado. To the Gumpers here. I think I've missed out a large tranche of comments here. I have, haven't I? With you, Liz F, I've got to honour each of your contributions this morning. Okay. Sorry to hear about the storm, Pete, says Pete. To you, Baddie. You have to admit that spring and autumn are our favourite seasons. May is just wonderful. January, a little less. We'll get through it, Pete. And a hello from Owen. Hello, mate. How are you doing? Hey, my Kindle book has been published, Owen. It's quite a lengthy process, but who doesn't like a lengthy process first thing in the morning? Okay. And to Joao from Pete, we know it's going to be an even more lovely day for doing so. What's that? The global Poustic contribution. Liz says, good morning from Paris, by the way. Oh, a gay Paris with the land of Philippe Stark. Sounds quite German, doesn't it? Stark. Philippe Stark. And he talked about l'amour, didn't he? Yes, very nice words from Philippe there. Glad you appreciated those. Good luck, Larry and Linda. And I brace and wince just a teeny bit every time you say Poustic, Carl. Well, I think it's going to stick, the poo stick. What else could we call it? If you have alternative names, if you have a politically correct name for poo stick, what would it be? What else could it be called? The baton of deification? I don't know. Poo stick. I'm going to stay with poo stick for the time being, unless something better comes along. What do the Portuguese call it? Eurico, what do you call the poo stick? Is Antonio here yet? He'll tell us. Paris is just beautiful, says Pete. Have you been down to the catacombs yet? I've not seen those in Paris. Been to Paris once or twice. The thing we mustn't forget about the poo sticks is the setting. Sorry, James. Poo sticks, poo sticks, poo sticks. A small stone bridge over a slow stream out on a country lane. So those are the rules. We have rules for the global international poo stick championships. Maybe it's not that competitive. It's not about the competition. I don't know. Should we invite people from all over the world and maybe petition for it to become an Olympic sport, or is that not what the point is? I'm sitting right next to some potential good news. Ready to jump with joy. I'm sitting right next to some potential good news, ready to jump with joy and full-on celebration. Hee hee. What's that? I wonder. Is that you going back to that love toilet again there? And even though Liz says I've lived here for 30 years, that's in Paris, I see the people queuing up at Denfert Rochereau to go down. Sometimes I shiver at the idea. Oh, okay. And Pete had some great nights clubbing down there in my favorite type of Parisian. But I think with my favorite type of Parisian, but I think you have to embrace the tackiness sometimes. Yes, good life advice. That's a deep thought. You have to embrace the tackiness sometimes, don't you? Thank you very much. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Liz. Thank you, Jacqueline Branco, for being here, wishing us a fabulous day. I hope to bump into you over the Christmas period and give you a Christmas hug, Jacqueline. But lovely to see you. Oh, pick and poem sent. Thank you very much. I think we've got a festive poem and image from Owen this morning. Cheers, mate. Thank you for that. I'm being sent mail for Bobby now from Colin as well at 913-590-303. The fog has cleared up there in Pontelima, and we have a poem too. So I don't think I've got the poem yet, Owen. I've got the picture. It's haiku-esque. Let me cut and paste that. Pick and poem combo for you this morning. So yes, deep thoughts, dad jokes, and little poems as well. Fantastic. What a gifted bunch we are here, us Gumpers. And I'll stick it onto the screen now. And the words. Let's get the words up first. From Pontelima. And the image now. There it is. Beautiful. The fog has, that's how it was earlier this morning. That's how it is now. What a difference a few minutes can make. And have a fabulous day, everyone, says Jacqueline. And Owen says, well, I thought he did. Where's that gone? Oh, yes. I was looking for Owen's name, and I posted it. With the fog clearing and dew on the ground, Portugal is the place my heart has found. There you go, to go alongside the beautiful words of Philippe Stark this morning. Yes, poo sticks isn't about the competition, rather the cheery setting and appreciation of friends. Okay, so it doesn't kick off on the bridge sometimes. You stole my poo stick. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. I understand it better. And Liz F, going back to Paris, looks like you had some good times. Yes, tacky is cool sometimes, and I think the catacombs are very fascinating, but all that murky rat heaven down there. And Antonio F is in. Antonio, what do the Portuguese call poo sticks? How about twig boats? Because everyone's just going to say, oh, do you mean poo sticks, James? Okay, keep them coming. Let's have a look at some of these news items then that point towards 2024. First thing I think to say about 2024 perhaps is OMG 2024. That just does sound like something out of a science fiction novel, doesn't it? The year is 2024. It's like, what? Yes, folks, it's 2024 next year. That just sounds like so much like not next year, but 40 years away from now. But it's here. 2024 is barreling its way towards us. And what are your hopes for Portugal, for yourself, for your neighborhood, for your community, for Portugal, and for the year next year? This will be an ongoing conversation, of course, won't it? Until the new year comes. Then we have it again when 2025 is arriving. The Portugeeza will be here a little bit later on with his unique take on this and other matters. So what you got? What you're thinking for 2024? Do let me know. I'm going to go to, let's have a look at the news and information area of our own website here at goodmorningportugal.com. And we have a section For those of you who prefer to hear it or watch it, there are podcast links and video there. And a lot of the headlines are all there, the things that I see during the day and post up here. I've got quite the collection now. And you click it on something you want to read, and it will take you to that particular item. And you can hear, what's this? Wine drinking in the morning. Can you hear this? A morning greetings from a sunny Mino. A happy Monday and a great week. You see, and you can have it on in the background. It's not the whole shows, it's just selections and edits from the shows. Interesting little bits and pieces there. And I've got a couple of things. I do want to have a look at the Portugal Resident and Portugal News before the Portugeeza gets here, because there was actually some really interesting and nice things over there on the headlines, on the front pages, which, you know, if it leads, it bleeds. Of course, anyone in the media will be thinking or be conditioned in that way. But there are some other nice things that we might have time to share. Something that caught my eye yesterday is what is Portugal's economic forecast for 2024, one of the items that's over here. Just the first bit, and then you'll click through to portugalbusinessnews.com. Portuguese economy news. Portugal's economic forecast for 2024 is extremely positive. It says over here. Oh, yeah, you are seeing that on your screen right there. Let me go back to it now, if I may. Yes, the economic forecast for 2024 is extremely positive, since the country's rating has just been upgraded to an A by three major ratings agencies, namely Moody's, Fitch, and DBRS. Yes, you know them. We've heard of Moody's, haven't we? Portugal's economy is growing at an unprecedented levels and has just jumped 2 levels according to Moody's new rating assessment. Portugal is now rated A3 with a stable outlook by Moody's. That is its best record since 2011. Moody's forecasts that the Portuguese economy will grow at an average rate of 2% over the next 5 years. For those of you who understand what that might actually mean. And for the rest of us, I think we're just thinking, well, that sounds like a good trend. Fingers crossed. Portugal's impeccable credit rating will make it possible for the country to have access to lower interest rates and to a larger number of international investors. This is supported by Moody's assessment of the Portuguese economy that highlights the positive medium-term effects of a series of economic and budgetary reforms. Let me just copy that link there, and I'll put it in the chat for you so you can read more if you want to. That highlights the positive medium-term effects of a series of economic and budgetary reforms, the deleveraging of the private sector, and the continued strengthening of the banking sector. Deleveraging, that is totally made up, isn't it? We'll come to, is it a good time to buy a property in Portugal in 2024 in just a moment. But let me put the link through to the chat there for you if you want that business news. Rugby Collar is commenting. Good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you at the weekend. You could broadcast the video. It is an alternative Christmas song about Guinness, but it is 2.5 minutes of rudeness. I think there's going to be more of that on Saturday, Colin. Oh no, it's not rude. Okay, I think I might vet it first, and certainly I will pass that on to Bobby for you. Thank you very much. What's this? Ooh, I know you, naughty boy. What is that for? Okay, let's go back to this news then here of this week. I break the news there down into sections, weekly sections of news. And here now we're having a look at, is it a good time to buy a property in Portugal in 2024? I hope you had a great day, incidentally, yesterday, Colin. It was your actual birthday yesterday, wasn't it? And the celebrations continue into the weekend. So I hope you had an excellent day yesterday. Investropa, which is quite a clumsy name, is it not? I'm guessing, is that Europa and Invest coming together to bring you Investropa? Are you considering buying real estate in the land of port wine? I wonder if anyone just starts with that. Do you know what? I think I like port wine. I think I'll buy a house there. Are you wondering if the prices are adequately positioned? If that's check and check for you, let's read on. People have different thoughts about market timing. Yes, just like economists, right? Isn't that a really unaccountable profession? Your Portuguese friend might tell you that now is the ideal time to buy property, whereas your colleagues in Lisbon may think that prices will soon decline. At Investropa, when we create articles or update our pack of documents related to the real estate market in Portugal, we base our work on verifiable facts and concrete data. I do like saying data as data. Naturally, I would say data, but concrete data sounds great. Sounds like the name of a rapper, possibly, rather than subjective opinions. Yeah, whatever. Okay, aren't subjective opinions said firmly and with an infographic like the one you're seeing on the right here, aren't they? Is that what promotes it into a verifiable fact? Not not aimed at you necessarily, Investropa, but it doesn't matter so much, does it? I mean, have a look, see for yourself. And we are going into some long grass here when we consider that we've got these prices to rent and projected GDPs and stuff like that. The population at 10.3 million with a GDP per capita of 33,700 begins to lose me, and I suspect some of you as well. But if that's your thing, the link is going into the chat right now to learn more about that. And I'll give you more generally the link to find our Portugal news and info that is updated pretty much on a daily basis. That'll be goodmorningportugal.com with a /PT hyphen news hyphen info, I believe. Popping that into the chat right now for you. So there you go. And yeah, you can watch and listen and read at Portugal News and Info with its own little YouTube channel at the moment because it's the clips. The Good Morning Portugal is all about the 90 minutes that we treasure and share together in the morning. But that's quite a big commitment if you just want to dip in and find out what's going on in Portugal. Through my lens, it has to be said, things that appeal to me, you can do so on the link that I've just put into the chat right there. This one here. Okay, where are we? We are with Owen saying the best chance to see the Geminid meteor shower, hoping for clear skies tonight, up to 120 meteors per hour. I've had more than my fair share of meteor action and shooting stars and stuff as I walk the dogs down the back lane. It's beautiful. It's really arresting, even quite near a town as we are. The night sky is pretty dark, and I'm seeing some wonderful, arresting, beguiling scenes in the sky. Owen, thanks for that prompt. And yes, from Pete too. It's meant to be clear for the next week here, so it might be a bit chilly, but a great chance to see the night sky. All right, let's take that off the screen and go to the homepage of the Portugal News, where there's a few things that were of interest to me, and I hope to you this morning. And the Portugeeza joins us at 9:30. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking to Siobhan. You know her from Quinta Salia, Quinta do Salia. A Quinta, it's called, isn't it? The wonderful farm outdoor experience center on the other side of the bay from us here. We've recorded a few videos, and she used to pop onto the show. She'll be back tomorrow morning. She is just putting together a print-on-demand business. I think she's been in it for a while, but she's launching it, and we're going into a bit of a partnership. So the mugs, we're going to be doing the mugs here in Portugal, just down the road. Isn't that great? And we'll bring some of that merch to some of the events that we do, our Discover Portugal weekends. And I think it's going to make them a lot more affordable so that we can get them in the Portuguese post and we can keep it local. And she's going to do some T-shirts. I'm really looking forward to doing some Portuguese and some Good Morning Portugal T-shirts as well. So let's have a chat with Siobhan in the morning. We're talking to Sarah as well. Coach Turner is due for a visit tomorrow too. He can update us on the latest schedule itinerary for his road trip next year. And we should have some Feel Good Friday fun tomorrow. And if you've got any ideas for mugs or merch, what would you like to see? Maybe a Good Morning Portugal bit of merch or something else, some sort of Portuguese iconography or one of the phrases that we use here, some of the memes we've made. Would you like to see that on a mug or a T-shirt? Do let me know, and we'll chat with Siobhan about that tomorrow morning. Okay, let's go to the Portugal news now. And what was it that caught my eye earlier on? Get off, pop up. The NFL is coming to Iberia. That will be of interest, won't it, to NFL football fans? This one, snow forecast in Portugal as temperatures plummet. So we might have a white Christmas here in Portugal. How about that? Let's have a little read of this then. Cold and dry weather will return to the mainland on Wednesday. This was published yesterday, with minimum temperatures expected to fall between 5 and 8 degrees Celsius. It's currently 12 outside my back door, and between 3 and 6 at maximum, according to meteorologist Bruno Café. What a great name. The meteorologist from the Portuguese Institute of the Sea and Atmosphere, IPMA, told Lusa that the weather will change on Wednesday after days of above average temperatures. It's going to get a bit chilly due to an anticyclone located. Yeah, my electricity bill's doubled in this last month due to an anticyclone located north of the Iberian Peninsula. Can we not move it? Tomorrow, Wednesday, this was reported yesterday, we will have a more widespread decline with temperatures dropping. The minimum will go to between 5 and 8, maximum between 3 and 6. We will feel an increase in thermal discomfort. We're looking for a new name for poo sticks this morning. And there's another phrase for being cold. An increase in thermal discomfort due to the increase in wind intensity. Yeah, that's when you don't want to be using that love toilet, when you have an increase in wind intensity, right? Well, you find out if you're really loved or not, I guess. According to the meteorologist, there is also the possibility of snowfall above 1,200 meters and 1,400 meters on Wednesday. So if it was going to happen, are we talking about next Wednesday or yesterday? It was published yesterday. So I don't know, keep an eye out for that. The Serra da Estrela, the funny thing about the Serra da Estrela and snow in Portugal is you can technically go and see on the Serra da Estrela mountain range, the highest point in Portugal, of course. But the problem is the road to it gets closed when it snows. So it could be tricky. Carl from Orico. Good morning, Doug. Doug's in as well. Good morning, Doug. This is a great comment from Orico. There's been reference to the celebrations of the 50th anniversary of the April 25th revolution next year. Have you seen the film I sent you inspired by what happened on that date? No, not yet, but I will. I suspect subconsciously I was saving that as I gird my loins and get the GMP machinery into shape. I can't wait to see that, Orico. Thank you for that prompt and reminder. I think it'd be interesting for everyone here. I'll make sure it goes onto our website. It's a good approximation of what happened that day and the respective situation. A brilliant primer for the year ahead. Thanks, Orico, for that. And 12 degrees, that's weird because it's 12 degrees here currently. Yes, it is. So, but I'm guessing... I felt suddenly a surge of competitiveness with you, Doug. I don't think you've got a blue sky like I've got here. Okay, but I hope you're nice and warm over there in Wales. And thank you. And you had some lovely feedback for your Advent video. Thanks for sending that, Doug. With Silent Night sung by you in Welsh. And you do have a very high register, very beautiful. You've got an incredible vocal range, Doug. Meant to ask, how's your recovery? Are you back to 100%, Dougie? That's to you from João de Norte this morning. Okay, so possible snow then here in Portugal. Let's go back to the Portugal news and to the front page. Oh, something's just been published as we speak. Housing tax break for young people. Mayor of Lisbon, Carlos Moedas of the PSD has questioned PS and CDU about the IMT exemption for young people. So housing tax break for the young there. It's not something that's paid though, is it? Is that when you're buying or when you're on your ongoing cost? Because if you're a renter, you don't pay that. So one of the interesting things about Portugal is the owner that pays the tax, the council tax, not the person who lives in the property if they're renting. Braga has been recognized as a sustainable destination. Well, that's a relief. More of that. Destinations. Strong investment in assisted living in Portugal. We had a Portugal Club recording about aging in Portugal, which just a reminder to you Portugal Club members and those of you who are asking for that. Had a very excellent chat about that, about the culture here of what happens when you get older and how you get cared for. So assisted living, investment in that here in Portugal. I mean, it's going to be a trend, that, isn't it? Especially whilst the retirement age to hit. It changed last week. Is it changed again this week? Portugal retirement age to hit 68. And look up the meteor shower tonight. So let me just go to that. Thanks for the prompt from Owen, of course, on that. Tonight, between the 13th and 14th of December, the Geminid meteor shower will reach its peak, and you'll be able to see up to 120 meteors passing per hour, as Owen suggested. These Geminids usually occur every year and originate from the asteroid 3200. Phaeton, and are one of the few meteor showers not to originate from a comet. This phenomenon began on November the 19th and will only end in December on the 24th on Christmas Eve. But you have the best chance of admiring it. If you want the best chance, then look up tonight. That was yesterday, I believe, but I think tonight it applies as well. As with all meteor showers, all you need is a clear sky, darkness, a little patience, and perhaps some blankets, and a big wondrous attitude, right? And if you don't have one, you will when you see all those meteors flying about. You won't need to look in any particular direction. Meteors can usually be seen across the entire sky, according to NASA. Thank you, NASA, for that. So don't forget to pop out maybe tonight and have a look at the meteors. that are happening. What else is happening on the Portugal news front pages as we anticipate the arrival of the Portugeeza? North Americans rushing to Portugal. What's that about? The end of the tax exemptions for non-habitual residents, the NHR. What's that then? In Portugal has led to a rush of North Americans applying for residency tax in the country. It's a good photo, isn't it? Good stock photo. According to a report by Bloomberg, Portugal attracted a flood of expats in the pandemic. Yes, that was a particular time, wasn't it? People here from that period of migration history into Portugal. The D7 and the pandemic. Different times. Thanks to cheaper property prices, a warm climate and beneficial tax and visa programs. But political pressure tied to rising housing prices has fueled a recent crackdown on perks for foreigners. And yeah, wrong target, government. And the looming elimination of the tax breaks has many scrambling to file paperwork to make sure they qualify for the program, which can save people hundreds of thousands of euros over 10 years. Well, yeah, only if you've got hundreds of thousands of euros in the first place, of course. You don't generate that. It's a saving rather than an interest, if you like. One interesting comment. So, says Natalie Gray, it's been ages since I've read a somewhat angry comment in the Portugal news. So it's only North Americans rushing to get the NHR. The British, South African, Dutch, and other communities aren't doing the same. I find that your articles always seem to mention North Americans, many times in a negative light. You're biased, but that's not a surprise when I see you're owned by a British company. Ha! And there are far more British here than Americans. Seems to be a matter of deflection. On that controversial note, who better to bring onto the screen than the Portugeeza? Naughty, naughty, very, very naughty. Here he is.
Those bloody Americans. Did I just say that? Was that the first thing I said?
Yes, you're live on air. Good morning.
Oh, sorry about that. I like Americans.
You say
I really
that
do.
now.
No, I really do. But they always get bad press.
Yeah,
wherever they go, it's true.
Just as we saw there, Natalie's not happy about that, is she?
Yeah.
I do like a Portugal news. I prefer the comments to the news over there, I have to say.
It's a shame Katy is not here because I wanted to speak to her about the Portugal news. I've been making some commentary about the Portugal news. I've had a few local people tell me that I don't know if I can say this now. Well, I'm just reporting
I'm ready.
I'm reporting what other people have said.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting
it. Other people.
I'm ready with that. Okay.
There's no bad language. Other people have reported to me that the Portugal press often gets stories completely wrong. Okay. And
shock horror.
And yeah, unfortunately, it led to me reporting something wrong, and I should have checked further. But it was to do with the inheritance. It's not an inheritance tax. It's the new gift tax rules. Did you hear about that?
No, but I don't need to. They're wrong anyway, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but there was a bit of fear porn going around that any gifts now that are over. Do you like that word, fear porn? Any gifts over. Hi, Jackie. Jackie's one of my friends. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Any gift that's over 5,000 euros will now be taxed at some horrendous amount, like 20% or something. But apparently it's not.
You just give 2 gifts of 2,500.
Oh, you tax dodger! What other taxes are you dodging?
No. You don't get the right to say that. Like other people say this. I'm saying what other people do. I'm not saying what I do.
Oh. No, I'm not going to go there. Let's move away from tax.
I think that's fascinating. Okay, so something people might like to keep an eye out for. The limit on gifts is $5,000. It would appear. Nice gift, by the way. And if anyone was thinking of sending me that gift this Christmas, please check. Maybe keep it.
It was funny, because I was complaining. I was saying, God, well, I was going to buy my son his first car, like I was going to buy him a $5,000 car. My car's I think I spent 500 quid on my own car. Never mind. $5,000.
Well, don't worry, there'll be a tax on that soon enough.
But you know me, I'm such a nice guy. I'm worried about all the people who have $5,000 to gift.
That is such. I mean, if ever you wanted to embody the spirit of Christmas in one little interaction, that was it right there for everybody. The Portuguese are being bothered about other people being taxed for gifts over $5,000. Mate, you're all heart.
Everything is content. Everything is content. That's what they say. Everything is content. How's your Portuguese going, by the way?
Muito bem, obrigado. Contigo?
So if you wanted to tell me that you've got long legs, how would you tell me that in Portuguese?
Oh, well, that sounds like a 1950s phrase book. It's really unlikely that I would find myself in a situation, as with many other situations in phrase books. Good afternoon. Could you tell me where I could find a stick-on sole, please?
It's like in maths, isn't it? You know, the guy who's got 50 watermelons for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that just throws kids immediately, doesn't it? They can't concentrate on the maths after that as proposition has been put on them.
Well, it came up in our Portuguese class a couple of weeks ago that she asked us to talk about body parts. Yeah. And there's a German lad in our class, and he's very, very tall, and he started to try and explain that he has long legs.
Did you video this? I hope
I didn't video it, but I want to hear you try and tell me that you've got long legs.
Okay, I would just say tem perna longas, I would say.
Perna longas, yeah. So he was mispronouncing it, and she said, what are you trying to say? And he said, well, I'm trying to say that I have a long penis. So that was, that was basically... Right. Everyone is stitches. That was pretty much the end.
Hold on a minute. Was he actually trying to say that, or is that what came out?
Well, we're not sure. The worst thing was when she said to me, "What is he trying to say?" And I'm quite short, and I thought, "No, I'm not going there with that one. I'm not going there." 5'7", 5'7.5" on a sunny day.
I think in this culture, it's not a problem. I mean, was the teacher shocked?
I don't. She's probably used to it. I think she might have been.
What do you mean she's used to it? What, because of your particular class, or just generally?
Well, I'm possibly it's not fair to say some of the people in my class are doing very well, but there are others who perhaps aren't studying.
With areas for improvement.
There's definitely area for improvement.
Right. Okay. Well, your teacher, I'm taking it she's Portuguese. I don't think she'll have been shocked because she grew up in this culture. There's a meme for this, you know. Check this out. You'll need to look at the screen for this, Tony. If you like. The penis calçada, which that was an actual real thing that was captured. Yeah. That image was captured in Lisbon. So people grow up with that sort of thing in this country. I don't think she'll be shocked by the well-endowed German.
The Christmas lights in. Look, I'm even doing you've seen the Christmas displays in Coldest Arena.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah. I'll find I mean, I was just innocently taking a picture of myself in Coimbra on Sunday. To share, my mirth and joy at being in Coimbra, and just in the corner of the photo, this sort of imagery is everywhere in Portuguese culture. I'm struggling to find it at the moment, but I will come back to that and show you what I mean. Oh, I found it now. Anyway, let me just ask you while I'm finding out, how have you been? What sort of trouble have you been getting yourself into? Or noticing?
Well, we've been very well. Unfortunately, my wife's mum in Hong Kong is very ill, and she's had to go back for a couple of weeks. So me and my sons have been fending for ourselves, and it's really been an amazing experience. We've the time that we've managed to get back from Lidl. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we're in and out of Lidl now in about 5 minutes. It's crazy.
Oh, I see. What, without a feminine influence on the shopping?
Yeah. And we've managed to cook for ourselves. And she asked us, how are you guys doing with the cooking? And I said, well, we're doing really well. We have something different every evening. Yeah. So, for example, last night we had vegetarian pizza. The night before that, we had, I think it was ham and cheese pizza.
Was it Hawaiian ham and pineapple the night before?
Oh, yeah. I don't mind a bit of pineapple on the pizza.
Yeah.
The first pizza
you might want to change it up a bit and have some garlic bread occasionally.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something for us. Yeah, maybe Saturday evening we might mix it up a bit.
Push the boat out. Here's one for your sons, okay? When they say to you, what's cooking? You can try this on them, all right? It's a classic dad joke scenario, which I can imagine you voicing, all right? Yeah. So you're welcome to that. Okay, and I found my picture now. There you are in Coimbra. You take a picture of yourself. Well, look, this phallic imagery is everywhere, isn't it, in this country?
Yeah. No, that's you.
Exactly. No. I see what you did there.
Ah, boom, boom.
You idiot! That's not the jingle I meant to play, but it works on this occasion. Right.
There we
Okay. Fantastic. Right. So 2024, Tony. I've been talking a little bit. We've been looking at Portugal's prospects. It looks like we've been uprated by Moody's, whatever that means.
That's going to have a big effect on me. That's going to have a big effect on me, being uprated by Moody's.
All right, I get it. You know, the big world of economics and real estate may pass you and me by to a great extent. But we still live in this country and this world. What are your hopes, my friend? What are you seeing? What do you want for yourself, your family, your community, your neighborhood, this country, and the world for 2020?
I hope people wake up a bit, to be honest. I tell you something, everyone knows that I'm a contrarian, right? But there's something you put on.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, no, he isn't. Oh, yes, I am. No, but on it's that time of year as well, isn't it? But I saw on your Facebook the other day, you put something about love in motion.
Yes.
Love in motion. And it just reminded me of a video that I saw recently. And they've had these Just Stop Oil people in Portugal recently as well. And I saw a video here of them getting dragged off the street. And
I saw that one.
And but I saw a video, it was in London. And what had happened, they were out there doing their slow walk thing. And a woman in a Volvo XC Planet Eater.
Say no more.
Chelsea tractor, and she's got out of her car, proper Essex, wearing the skin tight yoga pants that are going right up her crack and all that sort of thing. I'm
loving. This is well peppered with
swearing. Exactly. The kids in the car. Yeah. You're ruining my kids' education. Get off the effing road, and the bleeding that, because they're ruining her. And all I thought was, I'd be interested to see what her reaction was when, for 2 years, the British government made her stay in her home. Ruined loads of. It's just interesting to see where anger gets directed. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying those people might not be annoying. But I think in the grand scheme of things, isn't it interesting who people get angry at and who people tolerate, Well,
that's such a good observation, Tony. Are you hoping for less of that then in the new year?
I'm hoping for less of that. I'm hoping people think, right, okay, this is a minor annoyance. And in a way, I thought, even if they are annoying, I don't actually know anyone who's been impacted by them. It must be a very small fraction of the society for a very short period of the day in a very small part of Britain.
With Just Stop Oil.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It kind of gets blown up by the media as though this is happening all the time in your town. And I hear people getting angry about it. And I say, oh, did that happen to you then? And they're like, oh, no.
That's not the point.
Do you know someone that happened to? No.
No. Yeah.
No. But were you locked down for 2 years? Oh, yeah. Well,
yes.
Who are you angry at?
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and the post you're referring to connects with it, because I was, if ever I have a little look at the COVID inquiry, to see who you could argue, who are among the worst perpetrators of discomfort and disruption to people's lives, and are quite unapologetic, even zealously defending themselves. They did their best. You could become quite angry at that, and I choose not to. And that was part of my post, really. You don't have to go far when you look at the news. You don't have to go far to see news that you might, to use the word you've just used, awaken people through anger and realization of what's going on. And it just suddenly, if it's the same post, it just suddenly occurred to me that no amount of shock seems to be changing people for the better. It's like it just makes it worse, doesn't it? And I know there's a kind of theory, isn't there, among conspiracy theorists, that we're just trying to wake people up. And I think all that actually happens with that is that you make people more depressed by telling them the things they didn't even know they should know or didn't know.
Well, Trump said it, didn't he? He said he could go out to, what was it, Fifth Avenue or something. He said he could walk out to Fifth Avenue and shoot someone dead in the street at this point. I think that's what he was talking about. A lot of people misread that. Do you remember when Trump said that?
No, I don't. And I don't know what that means.
Well, I think a lot of people misread that he was almost literally saying he can just do whatever he wants and people still vote for him. And I don't think that's what he was saying. I was thinking what he was saying is there's a certain group of people, and believe me, I'm not a Trumper or whatever, despite my Trump hat. I'm not American. I'm not American, so whatever. But I think what he was saying is almost anything could happen now and people won't change from whatever side they're on. It just doesn't matter. Aliens could literally land on Mount Everest.
Yeah. That was the point I was making. And I was just reminded, or it just occurred to me that the only thing to do is what you think is right. And hopefully that's all you can control.
That's all you can control.
Yeah. So that's that for you then, and me by the sound of it. 2024 will be that, is instead of like bemoaning or being shocked. You and I have been on the planet for quite a while now, and we could continue to keep finding news that shocks us and think other people should be aware of it and wake up. But it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to work at all. In fact, it seems counterproductive. And the great way to be, and perhaps as an example, as you and I are inspired by other people mostly, is when people are doing loving and great things. And again, you get into the long grass and fine detail of what is good, don't you? And that's not a bad conversation to be having. But I'm pretty certain that what's Supposed to be awakening and revelatory doesn't seem to be working very well.
No.
So how does that work for you wanting people to wake up? How might that happen?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of like just quietly doing my thing now, and I think I even said that on my post. Really, I think there's a lot of people. I could say in central Portugal, I know a lot of people who are just quietly disengaging in a way and living sort of, if not completely off grid, sort of semi off grid. Not sort of engaging in the nonsense that's
that. And you mean that mentally as well as physically, by the sound?
Yeah, mentally and physically. Mentally and physically. So
fair enough. Okay, a few comments coming in. We've got a bit of catching up to do. Lovely to see Jackie here. I'm glad to hear that connection with you there. Morning all, says Jackie. Late arrival again, sending her. You're never late on the Good Morning Portugal show. If you're here, you're here. That's all there is to it. And Ulrico, yes, please do send that link to the Carnation Revolution documentary, because that's going to bring an interesting angle on things. Everyone's going to be claiming a bit of Carnation Revolution next year, aren't they, Tony? What do you make of it?
What do I make of?
Well, it's the 50th anniversary. My guess is that all the politicians will be claiming it in some way to their favor. Their political ancestors were part of it being great, or if they weren't, then we intend to pick up and run with the symbols and ideology of the Carnation Revolution. And a small number of voices will say, well, it didn't really work, and it was better before, and all that. There will be various people who will see it from their angle. What do you think for us foreigners and for you personally?
I think it very much sounds like something I want to stay out of, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I'm really, really, really trying not to think about politics in Portugal.
Okay,
it seems to be very. I did a video recently to try and explain a few things on my YouTube channel, and some of the comments, the arguments in the comment section between Portuguese people got quite heated. I thought, I had to actually do a bit of moderation.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're never far away from that.
Regarding National Day, so I was just trying to explain what I thought National Day meant from the point of view of an outsider, and it got quite heated in the comments. So
very interesting.
It might be a bit like football, I don't want to get too involved. So,
are you going to be doing more or less of that then in the new year, or are you going to be keeping off certain subjects?
I'll go anywhere, to be honest.
It must be difficult to be a contrarian and then have the problem of moderating other people's responses.
Well, it was purely because it was. I actually don't mind it when it's directed at me.
Okay.
But when they're directing it at each other, and it was becoming like you should be shot, and it was getting going too far. I'm not, you'll often hear people like me say we're free speech absolutists, but the reality is I'm not. Once you start threatening to kill people, all bets are off.
It's got to go, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm not. But yeah,
There was a concern here. I mean, you live in a nice part of the country where a bit of poo sticking is possible. Is James really trying to cancel Winnie the Pooh? I think he might be, actually. Nice chatting, says Liz. Got to go now. It's past 10 here in Paris. Yes, things will just be starting to come alive in Paris. Enjoy the rest of the program. Good job, Carl. Keep going. Thank you very much.
Something else I've just been thinking about this week, Carl, and I don't know if it's fits in with Moody's AAA rating or whatever.
I shall phone them afterwards. I'll phone them afterwards and find out, Tony.
But you know, we've been hearing a lot recently about the Americans are all running away, aren't they? Because it's getting too expensive in Portugal.
Yes, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But and again, as I say, I love Americans, but sometimes I see on the Facebook groups, you'll see people come onto the Facebook groups. Many of the expats here will know what I'm talking about. And someone will come on and go, oh, what's a good weekly budget? You know, what's a good weekly budget or a good monthly budget for Portugal? And of course, it's how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
But I've seen, especially in the American group, you see people say, well, electricity, 700 euros. And I'm like, 700 euros? How? I'm family of 4 and I'm 40 euros.
Yeah.
And we're not frugal. I mean, I've got power tools. We've got a washing machine. So what are you doing?
Yes.
And it'll be, the heated pool, for example, takes up quite a lot. And then we got the 2 dryers. I mean, I was thinking about it yesterday. I actually do have a clothes dryer. And me and my sons were talking about this the other day. We don't think we've ever used it.
Mm.
We do have one. We honestly, we don't think we've ever even one time switched it on. Because you know what? It takes like 5 seconds to just hang the clothes up, right?
Portuguese style, absolutely. It might be your lucky pants might be in there. Have a look in that tumble dryer because there might be something in
my
there.
Guitar picks.
Exactly,
guitar
picks.
I mean,
Right, at an odd stop.
Yeah.
Bon dia a todos. Hello, amigo from Squire of the Shires. And yeah, going back to your comment about the taxation on gifts, it's ridiculous that we can't do what we want with already taxed money. I think people use gift, don't they, as a way of laundering, perhaps, and that's why the government might say they do that. That commenter does,
or the government use the word laundering to turn gifts into something bad.
Yes, isn't that a sad?
Maybe you know what I mean. Maybe.
Yeah, that commenter. Well, that's right. I mean, it's like computer security and banking security, isn't it? I know someone who's had to fly back to America because they couldn't get into their account over here. Now, that is a fail, in my view. Great that there is a high level of security, but it shouldn't be blocking you out of your own stuff, should it?
Well, I've had this with the bank. I rang. I can't remember who it was. The bank, and you go through all this security, and then I say, right, I want to talk to you about this, and they go, okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Then you have to put a PIN number in. And I think, well, hang on a minute. I've already gone through security to get to you. You're not inspiring confidence in me. Like, are you telling me that I can't trust you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have all these weird systems, don't they?
They do. What a world, Tony. That commenter doesn't seem to be aware that those from the US have to pay both Portuguese and US taxes, whereas Brits only pay Portuguese taxes whilst residing in Portugal. There is that.
Well, if you're one of those Americans, you're giving away how wealthy you are, because that double taxation, as my understanding, you have to be earning quite a lot of money before that actually becomes true.
I think that's one of the fact check things for you, Tony. I'm not sure that.
Yeah, I may check that, but I'm pretty sure you'd have to be earning
it's been released. You said it out loud on the Good Morning Portugal show.
Somebody told me, a reliable source told me.
Oh dear.
I think it was the Portugal News.
I'm going to have to get me one of those. Never trust. Here's for your German friend and colleague at class. Now, you might want to. Wouldn't this be a beautiful moment where a British man translates some ancient Noel Coward for his German friend? Never trust a man, dear boy, with short legs. His brains too near his bottom.
Yeah.
I'm
sure Noel Coward's a very smart guy, but I'm not sure that actually makes sense.
Okay. The gift, UK, you're taking it very literally and anatomically. There are you. His brains too near his bottom. No, it doesn't, does it? Because it'd be the length of his torso that mattered, wouldn't it? The UK gift limit is £3,000, but any amount is tax-free. Beyond that, what? Thank you very much. Oh, here we go. Let's try that again. The gift limit is £3,000 in the UK. Gifts are tax exempt if the person making the gift lives. That's very ominous, isn't it?
Wow.
Really, it's like, here's a gift. I hope that it will remain so. Yeah, fingers crossed. Wow. João de Norte, I'm doing okay now. I'd say I'm 95% fixed. Very lucky. Not in the veterinary sense, I hope. Apreciamos muito o trabalho árduo que a Portuguesa fez para chamar a atenção para a situação da comunidade de microfalo. What's he talking about? What's he saying there?
He appreciates the great work of the Portugeeza and his attention to the situation in my region.
It's a very formal message,
Yeah.
that, isn't it? It's like something you get in the post. But thank you,
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Volvo woman in Essex, that Volvo woman was probably personally offended because the protesters were demonstrating about the oil consumers, her in her big car, as well as the oil suppliers and oil and consumers.
She may have taken it personally, yeah. She may have taken it personally.
It looks like anger is not about them, it's about oneself. That's worth remembering today. That's a deep thought, isn't it? The projection onto others there. And I agree. Not sure what about there, Dougie, but anyway, yes, I would please Mrs. M. A cup of coffee incoming, I hope. Awareness, sorry, with milk, please. Awareness. And Tony the Portuguese just disappeared into his brick wall there. Awareness is just the beginning and changes nothing.
Wow.
Here we go. For some advice for next year, Tony. Awareness is just the beginning and changes nothing. Only action does that. Outward action and inward action. Bairrandi is here. Hola, Malta. Just back from another bracing stride through the beautiful Bairrada countryside. Nice one. And I agree. So many people escaped to off-grid Portugal to escape the crap. I have written an article about this scenario in Portugal News. Would you describe that's what you're doing, Tony? You're escaping the crap.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck to you, and to anyone else who's trying to do that. I think I'm doing that to some extent, but in a suburban setting, and of course, being in the countryside does help sort of psychologically with this. Portugeeza is so right, says Jackie. I can't wait to detract from society, live a quiet life in Portugal, just working my hours, relaxing and enjoying life, feeling safe at last. Love to you, Tony, and well, love to you too.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. This is actually a little beam of sunshine that's making me disappear.
Is it? Isn't that funny?
Just a little ray of sunshine coming from behind me and shining right into, look, if I move the camera just left a bit, I should really
honestly, Tony, it's like talking to a brick wall. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah.
Portugal is weekly democratic country. You can talk. What's that? Are we talking about?
Yeah.
It's a weekly democratic country. You can talk. Oh, I thought that was kicking off. Because this is what happens on social media, isn't it? It's like we could look at Orico and say, Portugal is a weekly democratic country. You can talk with your views, but Portugal is a weekly democratic.
Well, this is what we said about Hong Kong just before we left. We said, well, can't complain.
Yeah.
Can't complain anymore. Well, they'll put you in jail.
Can't complain. No, really, literally, you can't.
Really, you can't complain.
So what else then, Tony? I love you. I don't stop being yourself and being a contrarian and stirring things up on the internet. What else are you looking forward to in the new year? What are your predictions? Do you have any?
I don't have any predictions. I'm hoping for a hot summer, and I think that's a fairly safe prediction. I don't know anymore. Do you know what I mean? The world has just been turned on its head. I mean, I kind of got, I know the kids like to say red pill, don't they? I kind of got red pilled with the whole WHO and COVID thing, and now I just don't know what's going on anymore.
Very interesting. Do you think this is great? How many people do you think feel that way? Do you have any sense of that? Because that goes with the awakening conversation, doesn't it? I wish people would wake up, and the people who think they're awake, not woke, but awake, because that's another distinction altogether.
It's hard to know, because the problem is, and I'd be interested to see what your viewers think about this. I mean, whatever your view is on COVID, I think we'd all have to agree, wouldn't we, that there are some things that were, last year's conspiracy theory and are now this year's truth, right?
Yes.
Whatever your views are, I think we've all seen that in the last few years. But there's still a problem where, for example, having a certain view about vaccines, you're on the same road where the guy who thinks the moon landings were fake lives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you keep going down that road. So this is also a problem I have, is quite a lot of people I speak to, and none of them watch this show. So I'm not talking about you guys if you're watching this show, but I have some friends that I speak to, and you can have a conversation about, say, COVID, and the next thing you know, you're having a conversation about
digital banking. For
Yeah,
example.
well, no. I mean, you can get into some real conspiracy stuff, and that's almost the I don't like that either. You know, the
Yeah, I get you.
the lizard people.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
sometimes
that's
it goes
yeah.
there, doesn't it?
And it works both ways, doesn't it? Because I agree
Mm.
with you. It's awkward and unfortunate to suddenly be grouped with other
Yeah.
people because you have a Venn diagram of some overlapping surface.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, it was so infuriating to be seen like that by a third party, isn't it? Is to have your view as valid as it might be or have come to be in recent times, discredited and trashed because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because
and there's no apology. There's no apology. No one's come out and said, "Oh, sorry about that," including some of my family members.
Yeah.
I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, for example, and I stand by it, I made the decision not to take the vaccine, let's say.
Yeah.
And I don't think the vaccine was a fake. I don't think that it was didn't work for anyone. I think it did work for some people. So I have a kind of what I consider to be a complex view on it. You know,
how dare you?
Yeah. I mean, you use Twitter, don't you, just to give a less sort of kind of important or sort of example. I saw today on Twitter a lot of people are showing Melania Trump, who is Donald Trump's wife, I suppose, and they were showing her Christmas decorations in the White House and contrasting them with Jill Biden's Christmas decorations in the White House, and you're supposed to pick a side, you know. And I said, well, I like both, you know, and I really do, because Melania Trump's were quite traditional, which I like, and then Jill Biden had some tap dancers doing a rendition of the Nutcracker, which is everybody knows that. And I said, well, I think both were really cool. And oh my God, don't say that.
You can't do that, can you? How could you? How could you not be polar on an issue, Tony? You of all people.
So this is what's happened to a contrarian.
Yes.
Now, when you're a contrarian, that means that you like both sides. You take a bit of both sides and like them. And it used to be being a contrarian used to be taking like the opposite side of the trend and trying to go with that, didn't it?
Is it so? Life has become much more difficult for contrarians.
Yeah, now contrarians are centrists. You know what I mean? this is what's happened.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it must be really frustrating for you to find yourself in that predicament.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, now that everyone hates me now. Everyone hates me.
Even other contrarians, because you're
even other contrarians. Yeah.
Oh dear. We've got some feedback for you. I enjoyed the Portugeeza YouTube channel. Nice short videos and interesting, entertaining. He certainly is.
Thank you,
not to be confused with British Dave in Portugal, another entry into the YouTube market just recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What does it mean when a little ray of sunshine causes he's a vampire, I guess. Is that what?
Yeah, it's something that happens. It's interesting, isn't it? I could probably set my clock by this or know the seasons or something. It's just a little gap.
Sundial.
There's a little. Where's my finger gone? He's in the rain now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
There's just a little gap up there at a certain time of the day.
Well, just don't have any garlic. Don't have garlic bread after all. I'm a bit worried about you. And don't look in the mirror.
Well, you told me earlier to have garlic bread, so now I'm confused.
With 1 minute to go, I think it's probably safer to ask you about things within your own experience rather than ask you to speculate, because that could get us in a lot of trouble. And one of the interesting points this morning was this idea of escaping the crap. And what I would ask you for 2024, do you think Portugal? Because I came here on that basis, I would think. I did imagine myself to be living in the countryside, not far from you, actually, when I first came to Portugal. And things changed. It's still an approach and mindset I have a lot of sympathy with, that people feel not so comfortable in their country of origin. They see that it might be possible in Portugal. Let's shorthand it to escape the crap and go and live a quieter, more peaceful existence. How's that looking for now and for the future since you first started out on this? And would you recommend it to anyone else who's thinking of doing that?
Well, I would highly recommend it to anyone else. And I would also say that you could really take a leaf out of the book of the Portuguese and enjoy a long lunch, I think this is, no, really. I mean, I've taken the mick a bit out of this quite a lot. But the reality is, take a long lunch, you know, and I guess for Portuguese people, for at least an hour and a half every day, they're living in the moment. I mean, when you see Portuguese people enjoying lunch, there's nothing else but the lunch, right?
Absolutely right.
You know what I mean? I think it's a kind of a meditation, kind of a daily meditation. Is just taking the time out. They just don't have. There's not a care in the world, you know.
Foodfulness.
I think that's that foodfulness. Yes. Foodfulness, yeah. So I think we could take a leaf out of their book there. Yeah.
Okay. And no regrets. Still a great place to come. I mean, because this is, you know, whilst a lot of people obviously in the sort of mainstream media, if there is a niche of that for people moving to Portugal, it is dominated by the NHR, tax, and more financial matters. This is the niche within that niche, isn't it? Of people moving here to get off the grid mentally and physically. You still believe it to be a good place to do that?
Well, I do, and I think I probably don't have time to go into it too much. But if you watch plug my YouTube channel, but I'm going to make a video about this later as a kind of a response to this idea of people leaving because they might have to pay some tax. Because see, I think, for example, for a single person in Portugal, you could live here for €500 a month. Mm-hmm. You know, I really don't think you need much money here. I mean, I was kind of joking about myself. We're not eating pizza every day, but we are spending, because I'm able to watch the budget myself, and I notice we are spending less than €10 a day on food. So when I see people saying their grocery budget, and we are not frugal. I mean, I don't go to Lidl and think what I'm buying, you know.
Yeah.
Same as the electricity. I don't walk around the house switching lights off. I mean, I do try to switch lights off when I'm on the room.
Yeah.
But what I mean is we're not sort of like hot on being frugal. Our electric bill's like €40. Our food bill must be something like €300 or €400 for three of us at the moment, and maybe 600 when we're all here. Yeah. So what I mean is, I don't think you have to live like that. I think you could come here and live on a shoestring. You know.
Yep. Thank you for that. No, I think I'm so glad I asked you and got that perspective from you. That will be reassuring to some people. Perhaps those people who have had their Wizard of Oz moment and they have had their oligarchical veil lifted. Yeah. Which you could do retreats for that, can you? In the countryside there. Come and have your oligarchical veil lifted by the Portugeeza. Big hug to the Portugeeza there from Eurico. Look, you got some Portuguese validation there. Thanks, Eurico, for being here. Thanks, everybody. We're 3 minutes past 10. I'm sure you've got other things to do, Tony. We'll finish again with the words of Philippe Stark, and I thank you for being here. We'll be with Siobhan, Sarah, and Coach Turner in the morning for some Feel Good Friday action. Portugeeza, keep up the great work, mate. Take care.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. See ya.
Bon fim de semana.
Par hasard, j'ai découvert le Portugal. J'ai découvert le Portugal où j'ai trouvé la dernière espèce humaine qui avait gardé des valeurs humaines. Où là, il y a encore de l'honnêteté, de l'amitié, de la tendresse, de la vérité. Et j'ai trouvé l'endroit où on peut vivre en harmonie avec les autres. On peut dire même, on peut vivre dans l'amour.